Throughout all of history, men have been much closer to death than most of us are today. The majority of us don't live on farms, and we buy our meat neatly packaged from the grocery store. Many modern conveniences like mass-produced meat have allowed society to grow and increase in prosperity. However, that doesn't mean things are okay. Men are weaker than they've ever been before. Our current society has produced a plethora of soy boys, simps, and wimps. Men who cower away from the unpleasant parts of life and commit themselves to fast food, video games, and pornography. What could we gain by peering into a simpler time, a time when it was not uncommon for men to raise, kill, and process their own food by themselves? I took a journey out to my friend Aaron's place to join him in the slaughtering and processing of a pig that he raised. For me, this was an eye-opening experience, and I'm excited to share it with you. However, you've been warned that what you're about to see isn't pretty. All right, so this is Aaron here. Aaron, tell me what we're going to be doing today.
So today we're going to be butchering that pig over there. That girl is about a year old. This is a little bit of an unusual one because she didn't grow out, so we're going to be butchering her. So the process is going to look like we're going to take one shot to the head, which should drop the pig immediately, and then slice the artery in the neck, which should let it bleed out. Then on the ground, we're going to cut it, gut it, and then take it into the garage over there where we'll hang it and skin it, where we'll drop it in some water to chill it because it's summer, and so it's a little bit warm to hang right now.
How much meat do you usually get from a pig? Like, how long does that last you?
So one fully grown pig will give us about 120 pounds of meat. I imagine because of the size of this one, we'll only get about 60 pounds of ground sausage.
Okay.
And I mean, it lasts us, depending on how much pork we actually eat. One pig can last 4 or 5 months.
4 or 5 months?
How much we eat, yeah.
And for a family of 7?
Yeah.
Or 7 kids,
But
right?
we're not eating pork every day. This one will probably mostly be breakfast sausage.
They're very social.
Yes, so pigs are a herd animal, and we won't take the pigs away when we butcher. They don't really understand what's happening. They'll be more upset if they're alone rather than being near the butchery.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So you actually...
They fear loneliness more than they fear death.
You kill the
herd
pig
animal.
right by the other pigs.
Yep. We'll do it right in here. We'll drop it. They might startle at the noise a little bit,
and then they get over it?
They don't care. We'll probably drag it right out here to gut it. My friend Brandon will be here to help.
Okay.
And so that's who you'll see also help him break down the pig. So.
All right. Now, I didn't think it was appropriate for YouTube to show what happens here because essentially what happened is that the pig started to seize up and spaz all over the place, and Aaron grabs a knife and cuts its throat and allows it to bleed out, and that's probably not YouTube appropriate. And this was definitely the most difficult part for me to watch, but it was also very thought-provoking because I watched this cute pig that came up and sniffed my camera pass from life to death in just a small moment. And while Aaron makes killing this pig look easy, he told me that he had to mentally block out the thought that he was killing the pig. And then I later had a conversation with Brandon, who is here helping him out, who said basically the same thing. This shows that God put a respect for life within us humans. We may have to kill in order to eat, but God gave us a conscience that we ought not to treat life lightly. According to Aaron, if the pig had been left there, it would have been eaten up by the other pigs by the next morning. Clearly, God has given us human beings a higher standard. We should not view death lightly, but we should take it seriously. A man ought to be able to handle death in an appropriate manner. We should treat life with respect, but we must also be able to tackle the morbid parts of life and do what needs to be done. Hard work, dirty work. That's what it takes to prepare a pig to be eaten. It's not for the faint of heart, but it's what it takes for us humans to put food on the table and get the protein we need to live and to move. Once the skin is off, they saw off the head, and then they saw the pig in half.
Perfect.
After the pig is split into halves, they lay it into cold water to make the filleting process much easier. All right, so we're done with the first part.
Yeah, that's the first part.
How did you get started doing this, like, in the first place? Like, because your experience, like, your background, you're a programmer.
Yep.
You grew up, what?
I grew up in the city.
In the city.
I would have been voted least likely to live on a farm, butcher animals. I got into this mainly because of some health issues from my wife and daughter. So we started to look into a lot of different things, and one of the things that we got into was wanting to make sure that our food was healthy, raised healthy, and we were in charge of it. It was real food. The factory farming where they raise these animals, they basically live in their feces, and then they get processed in their feces, and then they dump a bunch of chemicals to get the feces off, but then the chemicals aren't good for you. So that was the genesis of it. Wanted to get out on the land. I enjoy working with my hands. It's good to have something to get away from. I still am a full-time programmer for my day job, and getting out here and doing manual labor like this, it's enjoyable. It's good to just relax. It's good to get your mind off of thinking, a thinking job. So yeah, there's that piece of it, the health piece of it, and just the piece of wanting to be involved in the process. I'd recommend everybody at some point be involved in the process of at least knowing what goes in to getting your food on the plate. It doesn't just show up in the grocery store in the meat aisle and you just take it home. I think it gives you a greater appreciation for the work behind it. It gives you a greater appreciation for the animal. I am by no means an animal activist or someone who believes in animal rights or anything like that, but I still think if you understand what it takes death to live. And if you're involved in that process, I think we're too separated from the process.
Just as God said to Adam, "By the sweat of your face you shall eat bread," we must realize that great reward comes from hard work. We should not shy away from the difficult and disgusting things in life, but rather learn to bear those things with joy, a joy that appreciates and respects the sacrifice it takes to produce life, and ultimately a joy that looks toward the sacrifice of Christ on the cross and understands the great price that he paid in order to give sinners eternal life.